Well, hello. Um, I'm trying to have a safe distance from the microphone while I'm doing these videos because the last video I posted, yeah, you can hear my breathing really bad, and that's annoying. And no one should have to suffer hearing me breathing like I'm uh, eating like eating like a foot long ham sandwich, you know? It just didn't sound, it sounded kind of gross. So we're not going to do that today. So we'll see. Hopefully, this video turns out well. But yeah, long introduction about nothing. But really today, what I wanted to chat about was piggybacking off my last video about meeting people, dating online. I wanted to make a video about meeting friends online because I feel like, honestly, this is a part of our reality, much whether we want to embrace it or not. Um, a lot of jobs are remote, right? A lot of our life is on the internet. That doesn't mean that you don't have a balance and do things in the real world, right? So I'm not making videos about these things to promote not doing things in the real world and meeting people out in the real world, but this could be a catalyst to actually have that in-person interaction, right? And be offline, right? But I think sometimes we have to utilize online platforms to be able to have those connections with people in person, if that makes sense. Because I think they can definitely be used as a tool. So I wanted to talk about meeting friends online. I am not a fan of the apps for friendships, like apps like dating apps for friendships. I did the Bumble BFF before, and I just don't think you should date. You should go shopping for friends like you do a date. You know what I mean? And it felt really, I felt like I was like asking for a girlfriend, like, will you go on a date with me? And that's what it felt like. I think it was kind of weird. I know that some people have had success on that. And I think if you are an extremely extroverted person, I think that you can find success on there because I feel like you have to thrive at small talk without it being too serious and too creepy if you're looking for just a friend, and be able to pick up on nuances in conversation to make it friendly and fun, and really try to find where you guys relate, So I'm not saying that that can't be a method to use as Bumble BFF or like online platforms in that way. It could help, but I'm not a fan of it. Again, it just feels too similar to dating, and friendships, I feel, are your safe place when you are tired of dating. Friendships should not be that serious, even though they're a very serious relationship, to be honest. If you're having deep friendships and not just acquaintances, but they are usually a bit more of a safe place and a bit more of a place where you could be a bit more lenient and have flexibility in your friendships. And I think that's what makes them so important because other relationships in your life usually you have a lot of responsibility in them, especially like with your children, your family, and your spouse. But your friendships, it's a little bit more flexible, which is nice. Okay, so I feel like, again, that was a long way to say that I think shopping for friendships online, like a dating app, is pushing to on the serious route, and I think that's what makes it awkward and not work. So moving on to what I think works, I would say I really have a good time on Facebook and Meetup. Now, I encourage these two, and I'm going to focus on these two. I encourage you, and there's so many ways you can meet friends, right? People meet friends on Discord. They meet friends on, what are the other places where you can chat? Discord. There's another one that I'm forgetting. God, where you could just join chat rooms and y'all chat. Okay. And I know people do that when they play games and things like that too. My issue with those type of online platforms are it rarely encourages you guys to meet in person. Okay. So I want to focus on online platforms that encourage you to meet in person, which is why I'm focusing in on Facebook and Meetup. So if you're not familiar with Meetup, Meetup is an app. You can even look it up online, where you basically you're encouraged to meet up with people. But what's cool about this, and the reason why I feel you will be successful in finding friends on this platform, is because you basically sign yourself up for groups that align with your core interest. So you guys will be meeting up and doing things and talking about things that you're actually interested in. So it really cuts through all the awkward shit, where you have to just sit there, just like when you're going on a date. It's awkward because then you have to find things to talk about. You have to sit there and, especially if you don't have anything specifically that you're doing, like playing a sport or something like that, which I do encourage for first dates, is doing something where you guys are actually active, so it encourages conversation more naturally. But Meetup does that for you. So usually you're going on, like, events, so if you join, like for me, I joined like philosophy groups, I joined fitness groups, so, or I joined groups where people like to go out to eat, go to like bars and things like that. So we're actually doing something that we enjoy. So we already have common ground, already have common interests, which is what you want for a friend, right? So instead of you just throwing a shot out in the dark, which you do mostly when you meet your friends, you already know that y'all have common interests. So that makes it easier for you to actually meet a person that will actually become a friend. And the good part about Meetup is, also, even if you don't meet anyone specifically to be like a good friend of yours, you can regularly get out and do things by joining those groups. So it gets you out of the house anyway and around people that have similar interests. So it's just a win-win all around. I've been doing Meetup for years. I still do Meetup. I have met, Meetup was something I did when I first got to Houston. I didn't know a soul here, not a single soul. And Meetup, I met two of my closest friends through Meetup here in Houston. So, and she actually started a Meetup group, and I met her through her own Meetup group. So, a great way to meet friends, but also a great way to get your butt out the house and active. Does it take a lot of courage? Yes, it does. It does take courage to get out and be by yourself and around other people. But the good thing about Meetup is that a lot of other people are doing that as well. So you guys are doing things, hard things together. So Meetup, check it out. It's definitely a great way to meet friends because you guys are doing fun stuff. And so it's not all awkward and y'all have common interests. Boom. Facebook has groups. So this is similar to Meetup. It has groups. There was, again, I'll just have an example for myself because I'm sharing this because it worked for myself. There were groups on Facebook when I first moved to Houston that said new to Houston or girlfriends of Houston. So I joined some of those groups even before I even came to Houston, to start getting a feel for that, letting people know when my moving date, getting support for areas, places to go, right? Because I'm unfamiliar with the city in general. So it was just a lot of wealth of information, and also talking to people that were in the same boat as me, and, planning potential meetups from these groups. So, and again, you guys have something in common. This is what is the biggest piece here. is that you have something in common. So, new to Houston, you have something in common. You guys are new to Houston. Female friends of Houston, you're a girl that's looking for a girlfriend, that kind of thing. Why I like these groups is that it promotes doing things in person and it feels safe because you're meeting outside, you're meeting with multiple people. I like Meetup a bit better than Facebook because I feel like Facebook tends to attract more of a crowd that's just looking for things to do so they can post on Facebook or Instagram. You know what I mean? Whereas Meetup, I feel, are more of the nerds of the world that come out to meetup groups, and I feel like I'm more of a introverted kind of personality type, nerdy kind of personality type. So I really liked Meetup better. But again, I did meet a ton of people on Facebook and I joined this group, like Girlfriends in Houston. I was able to do so many things in the city and discover the city tremendously because of Facebook, because of being in those Facebook groups. I mean, I did all kind of things. So I was able to experience a lot. I met some cool girls on Facebook, but again, those relationships were a bit more superficial than the ones that I found on Meetup. But I did meet a really, really good friend of mine from a Facebook group. So again, I still was able to meet a good friend. Okay. So those are my top two ways I think to meet friends online. And I think that people should consider online platforms to meet friends because let's just keep it real. In this day and age, we are a lot more at home, a lot more on our devices. So why not use them to get off of them? Why not use an online platform so you can get offline? Okay. So let me know what you thought about that. Have you found some other online platforms that has encouraged friendships for you? If so, let me know. I'm always down to meet cool people and get out the house and do some fun things. So let me know. Let me know if this resonated with you at all. If you found what like my tips, found them helpful. Because again, I think that we're dealing with a lot of loneliness and not being as connected, which is crazy as we're online and we're connected all over. But I think because we're not as connected in person is creating a disconnect. So I think it's important for us to find ways to use online tools to get more connection in person. So let me know what you think about this. I'm going to quit rambling. Please interact in the comments. I would love to chat with you. If you would like to consider subscribing, why not? I'm going to talk about a lot of different topics when it comes to relationships, even health and wellness. But I really love to really connect about relationships. I think that's a part of our health. So I'll be continuing these series about dating and, friendships and all that. That's a big interest of mine, but I will be talking more about health and wellness as well. So I'm just here to help. That's why my name is Coach Ty. And I think I'm going to do a video really just kind of introducing myself properly. So that should be coming up as well. So I'm done rambling. Make sure you take care of yourself. Until next time. Bye.